In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the College Conversations podcast. I'm the host, Ben Jordan, and last episode I didn't really get to introduce myself, which is something I should have done. So just to let you guys know a little bit more about myself, I am the host of College Conversations. I'm a second-year university student studying global studies and hopefully being a teacher someday. I'm joined today by a guest who I've really wanted to have on here that I've known for even before I can read, probably when I was like 5 or 6 years old, Mr. Bharath Sivaram. How's it going today, Bharath?
It's going great. I'm really happy to be here. I'm Bharath. I'm also a second-year student here at the U of M, and I'm studying mechanical engineering.
So today's topic for the podcast, me and Bharath are going to be talking about procrastination and bad sleeping habits. And one of the things that annoys me is me and Bharath are actually roommates, and sometimes I'll see him at 2 a.m. cooking up like eggs or pasta when we really should be studying or not, but we're cooking, we're doing laundry, we're like trying to clean the apartment, like whatever we can do. There's all these crazy stuff that's going on at that time.
Honestly, I've gotten into the habit where if I need to do something like the very next day, I'll pretty much switch to anything I can find, even if it's like stuff that's like next week or something. I'll do anything to get out of what needs to be done at the moment.
And the problem with procrastination too is I feel like in college we have so much time in a day. Definitely my days here at college feel a lot longer than what they used to at high school. I don't know if you feel that too, but when I get home from school or whatever, it's like, well, I can just stay up till 2 or 3 a.m. So even if I start my homework at like 11 p.m. or 12 a.m., I'm like, well, I can still get it done because I still have a few hours. I don't know if you feel the same as that way or...
The thing is, my main problem was I got so used to doing homework in a short amount of time in high school. I'd have super long days in high school, and I'd come home after like track practice or something and take a nap and then start homework at like 8 p.m. and be able to finish it all by like 10. But then college, you come in, you have so much time, but all the work you do takes so much longer, and you actually have to put so much more thought into it.
But I even remember in high school, there was times where I would come to pick this dude up before we were going to school, and this dude would be making like breakfast like in my car, like whether it was like oatmeals, bananas, like you were bringing in like meals sometimes on the 5 to 10 minute drive to school. Do you remember doing that?
So I've always been a huge proponent of having a good breakfast because I can't concentrate when I'm hungry. It was a mix of me not being able to wake up early enough, and then you would come super late to pick me up. So find a solution. I just ate in your car.
And do you still make breakfast these days? Because like I don't think I've made breakfast since like the 3rd day of the school year, and like now I just don't eat breakfast. Are you still making breakfast? Or
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing because it's almost normalized in college where people just don't eat breakfast in the morning.
Right.
It's usually a granola bar or something, and I've pretty much progressed to that point. I'll start in the semester, like I have 8 a.m.s throughout the week. I woke up at 6. I'd like scramble eggs and make toast, and now it's just a Cliff Bar or maybe a banana.
yeah, well that's still better than me not eating breakfast at all, I guess. But I think I just trained my body to like not be hungry until like noon or 1, as crazy as that sounds. But I don't know. I just never can find the time. And probably because I'm just lazy, and I schedule my mornings where if I know I have to get to class at 10 a.m., which I do consider early, by the way. 10 a.m. classes still feel super early to me, but I'll make sure I roll out of bed at like 9:20 or 9:30 just to take enough time to take a shower. And that's one of the big things for me. I feel like I have to take a shower no matter what before I go to school, or else I just feel like a complete like barbarian walking around the streets. Like, do you feel the same?
Yeah. No, I feel the exact same. Also, I have also gotten used to like waking you up for your own classes because, you know, our sleep schedules are so terrible where like it's so hard to wake up in the morning too.
Yeah, so currently I think I would say on average I'm going to sleep. We're both going to sleep probably 2 to 3 a.m., sometimes later.
Yep.
And then, well, you have 8 a.m., so I don't know how does that even work for you? Like, how is that possible? Like,
Yeah, honestly, That's probably the worst habit I've ever developed. I think it started last year when we'd come to this exact same place in this library, and we'd sit here like just wasting time till 3 a.m. because the library, just for the sole reason that it was open till 3 a.m. And that's progressed to where it just feels unnatural for me to go to bed anytime before like 1 a.m. So even if I have an 8 a.m. the next day, I'll still like make it past 1 a.m. doing whatever the hell I want to do. And then I really pay the price the next day.
I feel like even the times when I have tried to go to bed at like 1 a.m., sometimes I just end up like sitting there and just like staring at the ceiling and the wall just because I like, can't fall to sleep because my body has just been trained to like go to bed at 3 a.m. or whatnot. But I do remember when you were signing up for 8 a.m.s last semester, and everyone I knew, all of our friends were just clowning you. Like, there's no way you're going to wake up in time. There's like, no, you're going to be skipping so many classes. But you seem to have done a pretty good job, I think. I mean, because you haven't missed that many classes this semester, right?
Well, I've missed like, I think a third of my 8 a.m.s. What happened is I was skipping a bit, but then one of my friends in the class who also skips a bit, we started up a competition to see who could get more attendance. And so my main drive to go to class nowadays is like not really to learn as much as it is to beat him out in the competition, but I'm still kind of behind by like 2 or 3 absences.
Just for the competition.
Just for the
class.
competition.
That's all it is.
Yeah. It's a terrible habit, but it's a drive. If it's a driving factor, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, for 10 a.m.s, like even last semester, I was going to class pretty late, 10 a.m.s, just because I feel like if I get under 6 hours of sleep, or if I get under 7 hours of sleep, I always have to take a nap. But I've noticed that if I just get barely over 7 hours of sleep, I don't have to take a nap. And last year, I do remember too, I was just tired as hell because I had classes at 9 a.m. an hour earlier than I do now. And I would just end up falling asleep in class. Or after class, I would just go to the student center and fall asleep. But a really funny story too that I'm now just remembering is me and Bharath were in one class together at one point. It was a political science class. There's probably about 100 plus people in this big auditorium, and I remember we would always come in the afternoon, and we would just sit in like the middle of the auditorium and just knock out like out of this world. Like either we would like be just knocked out at the same time, or we would like even take turns. I mean, what do you remember about that?
I don't remember much from the class. We were out for most of it. I just can't imagine what other people thought because they'd see these 2 guys come in and just sleep through class every single day.
And I remember times too where we took this class in the winter as well, and there was times where you would just come in, take your backpack off, and still have your winter jacket on because you said it was like just cozy and felt like you had a blanket wrapped around you, and just an hour just like knocked out in the seat.
It did, and I still usually have my jacket on in class, and it's terrible because that makes me not awake quicker. Like, do you always take your jacket off once you go into class?
Yeah, I usually do. I feel weird if like I have it on. I don't know. I just feel like in like K through 12, they always made you like take your jacket off in class, even if you were cold. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they thought it was disrespectful to be cold, I guess. So
yeah, I felt like I don't know. It felt like if I had my jacket on, it was just disrespectful. I also don't want to overheat and like start sweating either in the class though. But yeah, I remember the funniest part about that class too is that we would be in that class and we would both be sleeping. Like I said, right in the middle of class, and Bharath's head would be bobbing violently sometimes. His head would just whip forward and then whip back, like one of those types of sleep. And I would just lean back so far in my chair so that I was like staring straight up at the ceiling. But I remember sometimes the professor in there would he'd be lecturing, and then he'd randomly say like, I'm gonna call on someone from the audience about this question. And I remember whenever he would say that, even if we were in the deepest sleep and we heard that I'm going to call on someone in the audience, we would just whip awake really quick and like try to figure out what's going on in just like full panic mode.
Yeah, that was probably the scariest thing. I guess no one wants to look like an idiot in front of the class, so everyone just gets their shit together real quick.
And the funny part is too is that I'm pretty sure we never actually got called on in that class, like once.
I remember you asked a question once. That was the one time you talked, and then he kind of just threw it away, didn't really answer it. So we never really contributed at all in that class.
Right. It was just mostly sleeping. And I actually had another class last semester or last year too in that same classroom, except I would sit in the first or second row, and it was like a history class. And like I said, the whole class just knock out. And you've heard those people too who are like, I can't fall asleep in class. And like, I don't know how you can fall asleep in class. Like those people just, it's like, I don't know. It just happens.
Yeah, I get very jealous of those people. Usually what they tell me is they just phase out in class. And pretty much my rationale is if you're going to phase out, I mean, might as well get some decent rest from it. So I just knock out. But yeah.
And the craziest thing for me too was one of the deepest sleeps I ever had was actually after one of my classes. I went to the student center and I sat in a chair, I remember, and I leaned back, and all of a sudden I was like having like intense, like lucid dreams. It felt like I was like asleep for like a whole night, and I was just going through like cycles of like REM sleep and into dreams. And this was in a chair in like the student center. And I remember waking up and like 2 or 3 hours had gone by, and I was just like, how did I just do that like in this chair? It was one of the craziest sleeps I ever had. What was like your craziest sleep experience that you've had?
Remember one night I had a midterm the next day. So I was doing my weird schedule of sleeping where I'll take a nap for like 3 hours. And this is at like 3 a.m. So I'd take a nap from like 3 to 6 and then wake up at 6 to start working again. And that 3 hours of sleep, because I was so sleep deprived, it felt like 9 hours. I was going through like multiple dreams in like one night. It was absolutely crazy.
And the funny thing that we do too in our apartment, we do this thing where a lot of nights, so I bought these air mattresses from Walmart earlier in the semesters for when people come over. And I bought 2 air mattresses, and I remember they were $7 each for this air mattress. And I bought like a blanket for $3, a pillow for like $2 or $3, and a pump to blow up the air mattresses for like $5 or $6. And this $7 air mattress, let me tell you, has been the best purchase I think I've made possibly in my life. Because I basically just end up falling asleep on the air mattress a lot in like the living room of our apartment. And everyone used to get mad at me for that too. I don't know why, but like I would just knock out on the air mattress of the apartment. And since it was only $7, it's pretty cheap, and it kind of leaks overnight. And then sometimes like I'll wake up at 7 and it'll almost be completely deflated, but it'll wake me up because like I'm basically sleeping on the floor at that point. It's a great system that I've worked out.
Yeah, it's, now that I think about it, it's not too bad, because if you're having trouble falling asleep, you can just lay on it to rest. And then once you knock out, you'll wake up again, then you can go straight to bed and not have to just lay in bed waiting to sleep. But it does take up a lot of useless space in the apartment, which I personally don't like. But, you know, what goes, goes.
But yeah, I have this routine where, like I said, I'll basically just come back from whatever I'm doing late at night in the apartment. Usually everyone's out, and I'll just put on some podcasts on the TV, or I'll put on some like chill lo-fi beats music and just knock out on the air mattress. And I've probably slept in the air mattress almost as much as my own bed at this point in like the last month, which is pretty crazy. But I don't know, my back feels good when I wake up, and I just keep doing it. But
yeah, I'm honestly, I could say the same for the couch. I always take the couch. Ben will take the air mattress, and then we just both knock out till like one of us wakes up. Sometimes I don't wake up. I'll just sleep through the night. But I'm curious, actually. Is it better for you to sleep on the mattress than just the bed? Like, why don't you just do mattress the entire time?
Well, some nights what I like to do is fall asleep in the living room on the air mattress and then a few hours later go to my bed. Don't ask me why. I think this is like an old person thing that's just affecting me because I know like my grandpa and my uncles do this too, where they fall asleep watching TV and then just kind of like wander into their room. I don't know. Some days I'm just feeling the air mattress and other days I'm not. I couldn't really explain it to you, but the craziest thing, back to procrastination too, is I feel like the ultimate procrastination statement is like, oh, I'll just do it in the morning. Like not even later that night, but like the next morning. You know what I mean?
I do this sometimes, but it's sometimes valid because I'll be so tired at night that whatever I'm doing isn't efficient at all. And one good example is like I was trying to do math homework one night and like nothing was making sense. So I just slept and then woke up at like 6 and then I crunched that thing out in like 1 hour because I was actually well rested. So it can be procrastination sometimes, but it can also be like just smart tactics at other times.
That's impressive. Are you like drinking coffee or like taking a cold shower? I mean, how are you getting up at that time?
I got my mom to give me some nice chai powder from home. It's nice South Indian chai, and she grinds it up too so that it's easier for me to make. So when I wake up, I'll just heat up some water and milk and then drink some chai while I'm doing homework, and it helps out so much because I am not the best at making coffee. So chai is the way to go.
Look at you being productive making chai.
Yeah. I mean, you make tea too, right?
Yeah, so I do. I'm a big fan of tea right now. And I'm actually a big fan of tea. I love drinking tea in the evening, like really late at night. And people always ask me, like, how are you drinking that and like having all that caffeine right before you go to sleep? And I'm not really sure what it is, but I feel like caffeine affects me differently, especially at night. I don't really get jittery, and honestly, I can drink a cup of black tea or a cup of green tea even and fall asleep like 10 minutes later, and it doesn't really affect me. I love drinking black tea during the day. I had a British friend last summer who taught me how to make English breakfast tea, like the British way with some milk and sugar, and it changed my life. I don't know. I'm addicted to that stuff now. I see why the entire UK drinks this stuff because it's just super addicting and I could drink multiple cups a day if I wanted. But also recently too, my grandpa told me this thing about how he likes to drink green tea in the evening. And this is the same thing I like to do too. So I think these genetics got passed down or whatnot. But I'll drink a green tea at like midnight sometimes and it literally feels like someone is like massaging my brain. It's like, it sounds really weird, hard to explain, but I just get super relaxed and super chill. I think it's because of all the antioxidants that are in the tea. I'm not sure how many antioxidants like chai has, but I really just get this relaxed, calm feeling. It's not a sense of like jitteriness or alertness. Does chai do the same thing to you, or do you get kind of more alert and focused, or is it more like relaxed and calming?
That's a good question. I think I get more alert. It's almost like this coffee like feeling. It's just a lower caffeine content, so it's not as heavy hitting. Yeah, I don't know. My dad always tells me to drink green tea. He's the biggest hypocrite though because he doesn't drink it either. He'll just go on and tell me about it. Do you like green tea or English tea better?
So the thing with green tea is I think green tea, like how your dad is telling you to drink it, green tea has been proven to be something that's really good for you just because of the level of antioxidants it has is way more than black tea, and it has a lower caffeine level as well, so it's just all around good for you. I feel like I drink a cup of green tea, I feel like I just gained like a month on my life, like literally just something about it. I also know it helps clean your teeth as well, but green tea is it's a very acquired taste. It's super bitter. At first I couldn't drink it. I wouldn't say I love it now. I wouldn't even say I like it necessarily, but I can tolerate it. And I feel more calm after I drink it. But a good tip is definitely what my grandpa told me to do is put some honey in the green tea, and it like sweetens it up a little bit so it's not as bitter. That's what I like to do. Just green tea with just a spoonful of honey. You're not going to like it at first. You're going to have to keep trying to drink it like just a cup every once in a while. I think eventually you kind of acquire the taste to it. But there is some people who really get acquired to the taste and get super into it. You can even get into matcha green tea, which is the Japanese matcha powder, which is even more beneficial than just the bags of green tea you can get, like a Lipton. A matcha is going to give you even more antioxidants, all these things that are going to help your heart. And like I said, clean your teeth, do all these different things. But that's super bitter. That requires more of a process to make. It's really difficult to make too. You have to whisk it with like a bamboo whisk. And have you ever had matcha before?
I remember you gave me one of those like matcha caramels or something, but
Yeah, they have a lot of different matcha flavored candies and caramels and even matcha ice cream.
okay.
But until you try the real stuff, it's super bitter. I don't think anyone that has a cup of matcha for the first time is like, I love this stuff. I think it's just, but it's the same with like black coffee.
Right.
You know,
right.
like I don't think anyone, I mean, some people might drink a cup of black coffee the first time, but if you've never drank coffee before that and you drink a cup of black coffee, I don't think you're going to be like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, I'm when it comes to coffee, I've always wanted like something sweeter. So I always go for like mochas. But when it comes to like tea, I've always been chai, like not I don't screw around with like Starbucks or Caribou. I just make my own chai because once you get to know that stuff pretty well, you like understand that what they're making at the stores doesn't quite match up to what you can do on your own.
Oh, definitely. And especially for tea. I mean, if you go to Starbucks right now and get an English breakfast tea, you're probably paying $3 or $4. I mean, you can go to the store and buy a pack of like 20 tea bags for the same price as one Starbucks cup. And you
Right.
can make it taste better too.
Right. Do you ever drink boba teas?
Boba tea. So for those of the people that know me, I always shit on boba tea because I say it's not real tea. And I don't know. I like boba tea, sure, it tastes good. It's a sugary drink, but I think it's just too much sugar to be considered like an actual tea. I'm not sure what the sugar contents are. I know it's a lot. I mean, I think the appeal is like you can customize it. You can do all the different toppings of boba in it, and it looks nice. It's very picturesque. It can be a good Instagram story or Snapchat story. Like, oh, I got this boba, but I wouldn't spend $5 for a boba drink. Would you spend that much? I mean, do you like boba? Or?
I mean, it's been a while since I've had boba. I don't have it that often. I remember we had a cha time near our apartment, and then it got moved. And I was going to go there once it got moved, and I still haven't gone. But I should because it's open till 11, and I think it'd be a pretty cool place to study, too.
Yeah, and boba, I feel like, is one of those things where people get super addicted to it. Kind of get it all the time. I know some people in my classes who I see every day who have a different boba drink when I walk into the class. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, you're spending a lot of money on this. But it's definitely a trend. I mean, more and more boba shops keep opening up on campus. I think they really appeal to like the college audience.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a trendy thing.
Yeah. I think the whole like buying coffee or tea before class is such it's like a stereotypical college thing that a lot of people follow, and they don't really realize like how much money they're spending till the end, because
That's true.
it's crazy how much they're spending on these drinks every single day. And you know, all these $5 or like $4 or $5 purchases every day add up, and all of a sudden within a month you're spending like so much.
Right, and you truly develop like a caffeine addiction. I mean, I think we all know people who, if they don't have their morning coffee, they just literally go crazy, or they start to develop headaches. They can't focus. They just need that caffeine. I mean, it is a drug, and it's super addicting. And it's just, I have definitely a lot of uncles, family members, and friends I know who every morning, one of my uncles drives to the Holiday gas station to get a cup of coffee. Like, he could literally make the same thing at home with a filter. He could use a Keurig machine, but he likes the ones they sell at Holiday. And he wakes up at 5 to 6 a.m. and drives all the way to Holiday. And he's been doing this for probably 20, 30 years in a row.
That's crazy.
And he never misses a day.
Your uncle?
My uncle does
this.
this.
Doesn't your dad like the gas station
My
coffee
dad
too?
likes it too. I think it's like there's this. I think when you get over the age of 50 and you're a male, you just start going to the gas station to pick up like snacks and coffee. I've noticed my dad does this all the time, and he just always goes to Holiday and buys some random bakery goods and coffee and whatnot. It's just part of the old man routine, I guess.
Yeah. I think like to an extent getting coffee in the morning like from outside, it's almost like this cultural like American norm of like, oh, like getting up and getting to the grind, so you need that caffeine in the morning, and it's like so normalized to where like people just can't go without it anymore. It's kind of interesting to see.
And even like Starbucks, for some, like Starbucks has built such an empire and such a brand that just the symbolism of the Starbucks logo and having the Starbucks cup of coffee on your desk, it makes people feel good, I think.
Yeah, no, you see it all the time in people's stories. Like it's the study aesthetic, you know. You have a Starbucks cup, you have like your notebook out with your pencil and stuff like that. Are you a Starbucks or like a Caribou guy?
Well, I'm super biased because right now I'm actually a barista at Caribou, but the more I work there, the less I started drinking their drinks, just because I've gotten tired of it. And I could do a whole entire podcast episode of working at Caribou and the types of people that come in there. And I might do that at some point because I got so many stories from working at that place. But yeah, the coffee at Caribou, a lot of the drinks that you're getting at Starbucks and Caribou, like the mochas, the special ones, like a turtle mocha, a caramel high rise, the frappuccinos. It's just so much chocolate and sugar going into these things. And now that I've been the one making it and making like a frappuccino, it's like, this isn't even coffee anymore. Like I'm just sitting there at the chocolate pump, just pushing down on it like 5 pumps of chocolate. And like, here comes the like vanilla syrup, and then here comes the milk. And it's like, where's the coffee? I mean, there's like such small amounts in it.
Right. Yeah. I think like nowadays, for me at least, I like going to coffee shops just for that coffee shop vibe. It's a very nice place to study, I think. I get a lot of work done, even if I'm like not going there for coffee itself. What do you think?
Well, the thing with like going to a coffee shop, I feel like too, in terms of procrastination, is I've noticed that if I go to a coffee shop, and even if I don't do anything and I just pull out my laptop, like you said, and get a cup of coffee, I feel more satisfied with myself than if I had sat at home and did the same thing. Like I feel like just the journey of going to the coffee shop, sitting down, being like getting out of the house and doing something makes me feel more productive, even if I didn't do anything that day.
Yeah, I think the exact same thing. And I don't know why that is. There's something about like being holed up in the apartment that just makes you feel like you're not doing anything.
Yeah, and maybe you see all the people around you studying, right?
Right.
Or pretending to study, or just...
So like, why not the library then? Why the coffee shop?
Yeah, that's true. I think that, yeah, like you said, there's just that certain vibe. The coffee shop, you know, it's kind of a hipster place. They're kind of playing music in the background. You kind of have that background noise of people just talking and chatting. And like I said, I think the Starbucks has just built an empire.
Yeah, definitely. Do you do most of your... Where do you do most of your studying then?
See,
because I don't see you studying all too often. I see this kid pull out his homework at like 12 a.m. He'll work on it for like an hour, and then that's it. He closes up shop. He packs a backpack for the rest of the day, and then he goes onto the air mattress, and that's about it.
Yeah, see, I feel like I've learned how to, this being my second year in college, I feel like I've learned how to get away with the least amount of effort and still getting a decent grade. And I know it sounds crazy, but I've just learned how to cram for things at the last minute. And some people say that cramming is bad. I've actually found cramming to be good. And I find that if Some people are better at it than others, I think. But if I know I have the test the next day, and I get a good solid cram session in, like 3 hours, no phone distraction. If you set up your environment good, where you have no phone, no laptop, and just the materials in front of you, I think cramming can be pretty effective.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent it can be. I'm definitely guilty of like doing all-nighters on the regular. I don't know. I've always wanted to be one of those people who goes into a test like with no worries because they studied like a week or two in advance. Like, have you ever wanted to be that kid?
Right. Like you hear people who say like, "Well, how do you do so good in the test?" "Oh, well, I just study like 30 minutes every day." It's like, "Bro, get out of here. I'm not going to do that. I can't. There's no way. Like, how are you going to go home like the test is 2 weeks out and like every day I'm going to do a little bit of work. I'm going to write my first fourth of the essay today and then tomorrow I'm going to do the next fourth." For me, it's all or nothing. I get back, all right, I got a 7-page paper due tomorrow. Let's get it.
Maybe we just have a terrible way of thinking about it. I think that might be it.
That's true. I mean, that's what procrastination is, I guess, just the art of cramming and whatnot. But it's already been 30 minutes now, and I think we'll wrap up the podcast here. Thank you guys again for listening to the College Conversations podcast. We had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you, Bharath, for being on. Bharath's definitely going to be back on some other times. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on like Insta at Bharath Sivaram. I think that's it. I can't remember my Insta handle actually, so you'll probably find it if you search up my name.
All right, go check them out on Instagram. But yeah, thanks again for listening, guys. If you like the podcast, please leave a subscribe, leave a feedback if you'd like. We're open to any feedback. We're trying to do better every episode. But yeah, everyone have a nice day. Thank you very much.